So thank you so much for joining the Face of Christ meeting today. And this is, of course, part of the 40 days. And we're in the middle of day 14. And I found out today that we're on day 14, which is wonderful. So the Face of Christ today will start with a meditation. And that is directly related to the daily lesson that is today. I will not value what is valueless. And we use a very specific part just to come into meditation and use that. So one essential point from the lesson is like you did not ask too much, you ask way too little. You should ask way more. What you say are happy with is just too little. You can ask for more. Why not? Why not continuous deep sense of fulfillment? Why not ask for all this, for happiness, for joy, for having a God remembrance this very hour? Like you've asked for way too little. And so here it is, like it's a very practical lesson. It says it in the beginning too. It's like it's practicality. Let's see, like you use so much of your time to consider ideas that are totally valueless, and things to buy, it says in the text, things to buy that you actually don't need, but still you're considering it. And this is, of course, it's not bad, it's just distracting you from what really would give you fulfillment, which is actually what you're looking for. Now this we practice in this meditation. All things are valuable or valueless, worthy or not being sought at all, entirely desirable or not worth the slightest effort to obtain. Choosing is easy just because of this. Complexity is nothing but a screen of smoke which hides the very simple fact that no decision can be difficult. What is the gain to you in learning this? It is far more than merely letting you make choices easily and without pain. Heaven itself is reached by empty hands and open minds, which come with nothing to find everything and claim it as their own. Heaven itself is reached by empty hands and open minds, which comes with nothing to find everything and claim it as their own. We will attempt to reach this state today, with self-deception laid aside, and with an honest willingness to value but the truly valuable and the real. I will not value what is valueless, and only what has value do I seek, for only that do I desire to find. I will not value what is valueless, and only what has value do I seek. For only that do I desire to find. Everyone, thank you so much for joining in the silence, in the stillness of this, what is offered in this lesson, like coming in touch with what is valuable, what is real. So that's really beautiful to dive into. And so the continuation of this meeting is in fact like this. We're going to take a look at the idea of death, but in a different connotation. It's like the idea of death is related to ideas that you hold about. It's like hesitation, it's doubt, it's uncertainty, is distraction, is thinking that what happens is not okay, what that happens, like thinking that what you perceive to be the occurrences in the day are not what you think should happen, or what your brother does puts a frown on your forehead. It's like, what are you doing? You question your brother. Now, here's the thing. It's like, it seems to be a normal, natural response to have all kinds of opinions about what anyone else is doing. And this is something that you're trained at. You're literally, you think at least, you think that you know what's going on with your brother and you respond to it. Now, you might have come to the discovery too that in fact you can never really tell what that exactly is, because what are you seeing? Are you really meeting your brother? Are you really recognizing him for what he is? No. You see a reflection. Now, we know this far, like we know that this reflection is a representation of your own thoughts. So I'm actually not seeing my brother at all. Now, this is in fact like the basis of death, that you think you know what's going on, you think you know what you're seeing, and you also think you know how to respond to it. So this is in chapter 19 of the book. You see the obstacles to peace, the book of A Course in Miracles. Like you see the obstacles to peace, and one of them is the fear of death. And it's almost immediately said, like the fear of death also implies the attraction to death. You're afraid of it, and at the same time you want to keep yourself busy with it. It's like it's an occupation. It's a preoccupation of the human mind, but like here we talk about you. It's like you have a tendency to actually entertain you with that, because it takes, it's like it's an important part of your life as a human being. Now, of course, we're in the release phase of all of that, but we cannot correct ourselves. So we stumble upon all these habits of us, and that's one of them. Now, to look at the nature, you could say the nature of the attraction to death is then, it's like you are accustomed to feel safe with the idea of death. You have been programmed, you could say, you have been programmed, you have been coming into the pattern of feeling comfort and safety in the whole idea of death. Not necessarily dying, but like the things that I said, judging your brother, having ideas about what he does. So in that sense, it's very practical what we're talking about here. Thinking that something else should occur, that somebody failed to do something. No, the regular things that you, like, you you literally take a part of that phenomena, so to speak, and in order to establish yourself as an identity that you're not, of course. Like you're actually blind, you see an occurrence, you judge the occurrence because you see it that way. You cannot not see it that way, as based on your ideas, but these ideas are meaningless. They have no meaning. But you're actually proud, and to a certain extent you're proud of the fact that you know how to respond to it. It fills you a sense of certainty. Now everyone recognizes this, of course. It's like, yeah, this is natural tendency to do so. And at the same time it makes you upset. It is not safety at all. But you have adjusted yourself to that. So that this is where the strange idea of attraction to death comes from too. Like you have a hard time letting go of that. You really can't stop yourself from doing it. And that's actually funny to see that. Like you really need help to dislodge yourself from the immediate ideas you hold about your brother, or about, so to give it names, like about the news that is going on, about the weather you have a judgment, about the what your neighbor does, what your government does, what your who knows who does, your partner. And this is interesting because you really don't see it, what is actually occurring. But like I said, this self-made man thrives by it, needs it for its sustenance. That's why it's also attracted to it. Even though it's fearful and brings a lot of emotions with it, it's like it's so scary what's happening. And it's so disgusting what's happening. And it's so, whatever you want to call it, that is happening. And you forget that the origin of that is in fact based on your own ideas. Literally, it comes from you, not from anywhere else. Now, this is the short version of it. So we're going to take a look at some of the expressions in A Course in Miracles that actually help you to go through that and to recognize how to proceed, you could say. Like, what's going on here? We want to know. So in a total open-mindedness, not knowing anything about this, like, okay, yeah, I recognize myself as the human being that knows exactly what someone else should do and how the government should make its decisions, or who knows what. But now I recognize I'm actually blind, deaf and dumb. I have no idea how to respond to any of it. Bright Rays of Love is the title here. From chapter 19, and then section K, the fourth obstacle to peace. Now here, this is face of Christ, a direct reference to the face of Christ. The fourth obstacle to be surmounted hangs like a heavy veil before the face of Christ. Yet, as his face rises beyond it, shining with joy, because he is in his Father's love, peace will lightly brush the veil aside and run to meet him and to join with him at last. The fourth obstacle to be surmounted hangs like a heavy veil because before the face of Christ. Yet as his face, the face of Christ, arises beyond it, shining with joy, because he is in his Father's love, peace will lightly brush the veil aside and run to meet him and to join with him at last. Here didn't say yet what the fourth obstacle is. We come to that later. But what I want to mention here is like, it's actually a perfect description of a miracle. Because your situation is your situation. The situation that you find yourself, you can release that idea of where you I'm stepping into it with open hands and saying like, I have no idea how to look upon this. And then my mind is in an openness and can receive what the meaning would be of what is occurring. Now here it says like, behind what the occurrence seems to be is the face of Christ radiating its light through all of this, and actually brushes aside the veil. So this is a description of an actual inward occurrence in you. You cannot believe it that it's possible, but it's possible, and you can experience it right now. It's literally like, I have no definition of this. I don't know how to look at this. Now my mind is open. Now actually I can come into an experience that I'm experiencing light. In this light I can also experience a whole new event, you could say, in my mind, a new occurrence in my mind that takes me out of the context that I saw myself a moment ago. I was literally chained by my own judgment in what I see, but now I'm lifted up out of it and actually experience a miracle. Like, my situation is not what I thought it was. I'm the dreamer of it. Apparently I was dreaming a dark dream. Now I'm letting that dream go, and I'm actually lifted up out of it, and the dark dream is like literally brushed aside by the bright light of my mind. Now this is exactly what a miracle is. This is how that occurs within you, and this is possible right here, right now. So I thought to mention that. For this dark veil, which seems to make the face of Christ himself like to a leopard's, and the bright rays of his Father's love, which light his face with glory, appear as streams of blood, fades in the blazing light beyond it, when the fear of death is gone. So for this dark veil, which seems to make the face of Christ himself like to a leper's, as if he turns into a leper's, and the bright rays of his Father's love, which light his face with glory, appear as streams of blood, fades in the blazing light beyond it, and then when the fear of death is gone, the light can shine. Now this is a description of rebirth. So coming back to this, then it's like, this is a description of rebirth. What happens? What happens is that even though for a moment it looks like this is not a face of Christ, it looks like a leper's face. It looks like it's bleeding, it's open, it looks disgusting, so to speak. It looks disgusting. Now, in the moment that I release my ideas and really come to the core of myself in the sense of I want to experience something differently, I want to see this differently, suddenly the light of the face of Christ comes within my reach. Literally, my antenna is out. I can receive that now. It can come to me now. And that is exactly what's happening in a rebirth moment. So it's like you have like a death episode. It looks terrible, and it's like, oh my God, I can't believe it. I can never do this. You can say whatever you want, but suddenly you happen to let go of your ideas. Suddenly a miracle happens and shows you something completely different. Like literally, it starts to dawn. It starts to dawn what is actually going on, and you are literally enveloped by that experience. This is the darkest veil, upheld by the belief in death, sickness, death, blood, murder, all of this, separation, and protected by its attraction. like I said, you have used this, so it has an attraction to you because it gives you a false sense of certainty and safety. How weird ever that sounds, but that's really the nature of the human being. The dedication to death and to its sovereignty is but to the solemn vow, the promise made in secret to the ego, never to lift this veil, not to approach it, and not even to suspect that it's there. So it's like you have covered this up pretty good. And this, of course, now it already changed, or something has already shifted in that. So you are willing to take a look at it. But when you do this for the first time, when this comes to you for the first time, you could say, this is the occurrence. The dedication to death and to its sovereignty is but the solemn vow, the promise made in secret to the ego, never to lift this veil, not to approach it, not even to suspect that it's there. So you want to cover it up, in other words. From beyond each of these obstacles to love, love itself has called, and each has been surmounted by the power of the attraction of what lies beyond. Your wanting fear seemed to be holding them in place, yet when you heard the voice of love beyond them, you answered and they disappeared. Okay, so we come to that later. Beyond each of these obstacles to love, love itself has called, and each has been surmounted by the power of attraction of what lies beyond. Now, to make this more accessible, you could say, one way to express this then is like the moment that you hold on to your idea about your brother or your situation, which is the same thing, or even having ideas about God or about what the world is for, like having ideas about anything, about your position in this world, about the things that are going on in your life in this world, all of this is in fact related to an idea of death. And you holding on to that, you defending that, is what we're talking about here. It's like, there's no way to talk about that. You don't even want to look at that. It looks like this. Like, of course, we do the exercise and you come closer to it. But when it comes down to it, are you really doing it, is the question. Like, are you really willing to take a look at that? Are you willing to look at your own constructs in which you have imprisoned yourself? This is the question. Now, when you feel fear, when you feel hate, when you want to attack your brother, when you want to attack yourself, when you, in fact, want to stay where you are, when you're not willing, for instance, to open your mind for a different experience, then in fact you confirm that death has a great attraction to you, and in fact prevents you prevent yourself from having an experience that goes beyond that. And so, but here's the thing that I actually wanted to say is, like, when you do that, when you are in the middle of that, when you're so much defending that, when you're so, for a moment, so unwilling to actually let something else occur, what are you doing? You actually hear something else. Otherwise you wouldn't be so defensive. You know there's something else. You hear the call for love. You hear it behind all of your self-definitions. You hear the call for God. And that's why this becomes like lessons that are so in your face, that are so that you want to throw the book out of your window, kind of in your face. Because when it comes near to you, when you can no longer resist by being you, so to speak, by being the one that you think you are, by defending yourself, by doing all these things, by in fact acknowledging the veil instead of letting it be lifted, as long as you do that, you're actually totally hearing the love, the voice of love. Otherwise you would not defend it. You would not be defending yourself. So, and that becomes, increasingly tense up to the moment that you allow yourself to literally die into your humanhood, as we say. It's like you're ready for a rebirth experience. Now that's exactly what's being offered, of course, here. But now in this specific part of the text, we're actually taking a look at how that comes about. So you can't fool yourself. That is the funny part. So the more you defend yourself, the more you are aware too how unrealistic it is. Or the deeper you want to throw yourself into despair or throw yourself into acknowledging the pain that you're experiencing. In fact, you'll hear the voice for love behind all of that. And that might make you even more angry too. I don't want to put words in your mouth, of course, but that's very recognizable, because it is like you want to hold on to this. It has an attraction. You want to hold on to it. You're not going to let go of this yet. And why not? You have your reasons for it, or not, or you don't know what you're thinking about it. But like we saw in the lesson that we meditated on too, is like it is not so difficult altogether. It's like the complexity and the situation upon situation upon situation, history situation, is literally like a smoke screen of complexity. I love that word. It's like a smoke screen. You cannot see through it. So it seems like a block. It seems like something that's there. It's like totally impossible. And you're justified in not going to step right into that, because it is, you cannot go through it. It's literally impossible for you to do this. So you're justified, and now you sit with suffering your pain, suffering your fear, while deep down you hear the voice of love calling you very gently, and that has so much attraction to you that you will lose it. You will lose your defenses. Like, that's inevitable. And how nice is that? How beautiful is that? So the question then is always, why not today? Why not let that go? Why not let your whole history go? Why not let every idea that you hold about yourself, that you think you know so well about yourself? Why not drop all of it and completely focus on the voice for love? Literally allowing yourself to be lifted and seeing the face of Christ radiating through, right behind all of the misery that you have entertained, quote unquote, entertained for a while. How great is that? You're wanting fear, or you're wanting death, you're wanting whatever you entertain, so to speak, quote unquote, seem to be holding them in place. Yet when you heard the voice of love beyond them, you answered, and they disappeared. So that's the invitation, that's the occurrence. And it did take place, and there's no need to resist that any longer. For you realize that if you look on this and let the veil be lifted, all the things that you treasured before, will be gone forever. It's like you never have to look at that again. Once you experience that, you will not entertain those anymore. All of your friends, your protectors in your home will vanish. All of your friends your protectors and your home will vanish. Nothing that you remember now will you remember. It seems to you the world will utterly abandon you if you but raise your eyes. Like, if I would do that, the world would abandon me. That is what you feel when you think you have to let go of the world, so to speak. You think that the world will abandon you. When you even consider the idea of listening to the voice for love. Yet all that will occur is you will leave the world forever. This is the re-establishment of your will. Look upon it open-eyed, and you will never more believe that you are at the mercy of things beyond you, forces you cannot control, and thoughts that come to you against your will. It is your will to look on this. It's like this is your chance. It really is. It's like this is your chance to take a good look at this. Look upon it open-eyed, and you will never more believe that you are at the mercy of things beyond you, like what the world thinks about you, or if the world is going to abandon you in whatever form that can happen. Forces you cannot control and thoughts that come to you against your will. It is your will to look on this. It's like it starts with you, it ends with you. You decide. You decide. You allow. You focus your ears on what you are listening to. That was a great part in the course to look at. Because like the fear of death is much more than just thinking that there's a terminal life and it comes closer and closer and you're afraid to go into that. Like, that's not really it either. There's no future, you could say. You're not a body, and we can bring in all kinds of ideas around that. So here we talk about day-to-day stuff that is actually in the way of you having a full-blown experience of the love of God, which is available to you. So you ask too little, is what it says in today's lesson too. You ask far, way too little. Ask for more. Ask for more. It is available for you. Like, don't say, don't be happy just with little things, or things that you can buy, or things that you can get, or attention that you can get, or who knows what that you can get that gives you some kind of satisfaction. It's like open it up wide, because there's so much more, and it's all freely given. How do we enter in? Well, with open hands and an open mind. In other words, no ties to whatever you are considering being the effect of what you're doing, or what the consequences are of entering into this situation open-handed and open-minded. So that is the offering here. And then, of course, you see the face of Christ. The face of Christ as the light, the rays of God, as the beautiful rays of God, who are shining in your mind, in your soul, like it is shining in your soul. You want to have a full-blown experience of it. You want that to open up just wide. Today, right now. That is the offering. So, thank you for letting me share that with you. That's really beautiful. Thank you so much. All right, so this was an important part that I really needed to share, and that came up as a facet of the face of Christ, and the obstacles, the seeming obstacles that seem to be there. They're not big at all. It's like, is there really an obstacle? Well, no, not really. Not really. It's just a bit of an old habit to pick up old ideas, or to pick up something that's already gone. Now, you see, like, picking up something that's already gone is what death is. You try to literally reanimate a dead cow, so to speak. You want to bring it to life in your experience, but it's gone, it's old, there's no life in it. While at the same time you hear the voice for love calling you gently. In every time that you're becoming quiet, you really have to, give it your best not to completely disappear into it. Up to the moment that you give into it, and then there it goes. Then you undergo your rebirth experience, and you come to life. So this is so wonderful. I love it. Anyway, so what am I going to do? I'm going to maybe bring in, well, that's more looking at something. Let's not do that. We're going to take it easy with some music first.